Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to do some product photography. This is a package I got sent by one of my friends at One Small Shop. So we've got candles, soaps, all the things. So today we're going to try and shoot these. So I think what we'll do first is we'll set up a table near the flashes and see what we can do. Clean off the table. So what I'm going to do first is just we've got a big octabox behind me here to just kind of fill the room with light. So we're going to see how that looks and then work out whether we need to add any other little lights inside to just kind of like fill that space. So I've currently got that set to half power. We're going to go to 1/200th of a second, go f8, and then I'm going to drop that down to ISO 100. Then we're on a 135mm lens. We're going to set that down to 1.8 just to see how that looks initially. So that came out really overexposed. So what I'm going to do now is just crank my shutter speed up to say 1/2000 and see what happens there. Yeah, getting a lot closer now. So just going to put up even further. Go 1/4000. I'm going to bring a second light to the side here. We've got just a simple reflective umbrella. Just add a little bit more to the side just to see how that looks. The only problem is now, because we're down to 1.8, it's just a bit too shallow a depth of field. I'm losing some of the lettering, so I'm going to bump it up to 2.8 and see how that looks. And still, we're losing some of the letters off the side, so move to 5.6, see if that makes a difference. So I'm happy with how that's looking now. Everything's really sharp. We've got a nice shallow depth of field to it. It's got everything in there that we want. So now it's time to start playing around with the different colours and just different placements. So what I find really useful are these card backdrops. So just A1 pieces of card, mount board, in like a range of different colours. So it's great to just be able to put up like a simple backdrop that you can quickly change out, and we've got quite a nice matte texture on there as well. I think it's always good to look at like what the products are and what kind of colours are in them. So I think with this one, it's a very kind of neutral colour, obviously like very white. I think let's go for this cream with maybe the original wood base. So what we'll do is we'll put this in the background. We'll use a light stamp with a clip on it. That's just going to hold our backdrop just behind there. So we've now got the candle, the backdrop in place, we've got the base sorted. So yeah, let's see how this looks. So I'm going to shoot this at a few different angles, obviously kind of straight on, and then we'll do some like different diagonal looks as well. I might need to move the backdrop around a little bit as I'm moving around because it's quite small. Now I've got this set up, happy with how those look. It's now time to bring in the other products and just shoot all of those. I'm happy with what we got there. We've got a real good mix of shots. And now let's take that into the computer just to see how we're going to edit them and make them all look like one set. Cool, so here we are in Lightroom. We've imported all the images, and now what I want to do is go through and just select which ones I think are the best. So what I generally do is just click on the first one, which I know is just after our lighting gets about right. So let's start here. And then what we're going to do is just go through, and if we press caps lock, this is going to auto skip us onto the next image. So what we can do here is basically we're going to review it 1 or 0 using our keyboard. So 0 means basically nothing, like no stars, and 1 will give it 1 star. If I press 0 now, it'll automatically go on to the next image because we've got caps lock on. So I'm going to go through until I found one that I'm happy with. I think by the time we've got to here, I can see that pretty much all of our text is in focus. We can read everything there. So I'm going to start doing one from there. This looks even better, so we're going to do one there. We've now got one with the lid off, so I think it's always good to get a different range of images. This is nice with the box in. Yeah. On to the next ones. And it's just going through being like, which ones look good, which ones make a good product shot. You'll know with these, so I basically took some of the contents out of the pot, just poured it onto the side, just so you get a bit of texture of an idea of what actually is in there. So when I shot these first couple, the depth of field is a bit shallow because it's basically focusing on the label. And I opened it up a little bit just to get a bit more of that texture come through. And then shot from a few different angles as well, just so you really get to see what the texture of that face mask looks like. I think this is a great image. Yeah. What's useful to do as well is that you can see down the bottom here, there's actually all the images that are going through. So I can actually like look ahead and kind of predict already, do I like this one as much as the next one, just based on composition. So now I've basically gone through and selected the ones that I like. I'm just going to put my filter on. A filter rated, and this is going to show me just the ones that I put a star next to. So these will be my favorite images from the selection. And then I think what's important to do is go through and work out which ones are good, which ones aren't good, and then go through and like really tweak that. So now I've got all these set to 1 star. I can now go through and be like, okay, which ones of these do I prefer? Which ones am I going to knock up to 2 star? And then that's going to really help me refine my selection. We'll press G to come back to gallery. Now at the top I've got this rating up here. I'm going to select 2 now, and it's only going to show me ones with 2 or above. So these are basically now all the ones that I've selected that I want to edit. So because all these are shot under pretty much the same lighting condition, we can apply the same effect to all of them. I think what I want to do is, let's have a look through some of my presets. So because everything's shot in the same way, it means that you can copy and paste what you've done on one image onto the next image. So if we come across to the next one, yes, I could apply that same filter, or I could go to settings, paste from previous. And by doing that, it'll put the same effect on it as the previous image had. So I think if you want things to look quite uniform, that's a really good way to do it. So what I can do here is, because they're all going to have the same look and feel to them, I'm just going to apply that preset to all of them. And you can see it start to affect everything in the same way. So what's really good to do here as well is, because you can see everything quite large, is just select one image individually. And I feel like these two are a little bit darker. So just within this quick develop setting, it's going to tweak them so they look like they're part of the same set. And now it's time to go into everything individually. So what I'm going to do is come to press D to go to the develop section. And then I'm basically going to crop everything 4:5 for Instagram. So what I'm doing here is I've got the third line on the background, and I'm just centralizing this image. Going through, and you can either press this and come and select your one individually. Or you can press R, which does the same thing. So it's just going through all the images and just cropping everything to exactly how you want it. Now, some of you might realize they seem a bit bright and you can just tweak them slightly. Once you're in the develop area, it's much easier to do things a lot more refined. So here, this is slightly too bright, so I'm just going to drop the exposure on it. Settings, base and previous, and this will do the crop as well. It's going to crop in a little bit further, just to get even amounts on both sides. Actually, this image, because everything is a really similar color, it's a bit hard to tell the difference between it and the background. So I might just tweak these a little bit more. Just bump the contrast a bit. What might even be worth doing here. So I'm just going to put a radial filter on top, and then maybe boost the haze and clarity a little bit. Just add a bit more detail onto the actual central, like the focus point, I suppose. And what you can see is happening just here is obviously a bit of dirt on the sensor. So I'm just going to use this tool here. Just paint over the spot that I don't want, and it will just get rid of that. One really important thing to notice is the fact that because I put a filter on this, it's now changed the color of this pink. If it's a product that's going to be sold in a certain color, it's really important not to change that. So what I'm going to do is just come down to my HSL area, and I'm going to be able to see that actually I've put the pinks and purples down quite low. So now if I start to finish, but now it's a lot more true to life. Cool, so now it's good to kind of like step back and take an overall overview again and just see if there's anything that you can use to really make everything blend together a bit more. So I feel like looking at those now, that seems like a good collection of images. Everything seems to work together well, the colors match. Just checking through, make sure there's no kind of big changes in color. So I know, for example, with my filter, it affects the pink. So let me just check this one here, because I know this is a pink label. So when you're in the develop area, if you press the backslash, it will show you a before and after. So yeah, actually that doesn't change that pink too much. So yeah, I'm happy with where we're at there. G to go back to gallery. Cool, so now I'm happy with everything. Now it's just time to export it. So I'm going to export this for Instagram resolution. If you don't see my video about how to export for Instagram to get the best quality, there should be a link to that video up here. Thanks so much for watching to the end, and I really hope you learned something today. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you haven't already, do click subscribe so you can follow on with more future videos, which will cover all sorts of different topics around photography, editing, all the things. If you got any value from this, do click that like button because it makes a huge difference. And remember, always be creating. See ya!